Hi, this is Nick from ReviewOutlaw.com. Today we're going to take a look at fixing a leak in a Seadoo 2006, actually it's 1996, sorry, GSX. Basically we just got this, used pretty cheap, about $1,000, and put in the water and it started sinking. So first thing we checked would be your drain plugs, which are right down here, and you can see they're tight. So the next thing that we want to check is we can look inside for any leaks or holes that you could possibly see, cracks, things like that. There's a latch right here. Pop this up, and you're going to look, take this off. And what you want to do is you look inside, see if you can see anything noticeable. This is your filter here, air filter. This also pops up. Take this off. And now you can actually see your battery right here. So if your engine's not starting, you might want to replace your battery, charge that up. It's a very common issue for these batteries to die. So a lot of people have actually added on-off switches to disconnect it, because it's kind of a slow drain constantly plugged in on a lot of these older model Seadoos. I would actually recommend replacing it with a lithium polymer battery. They're a little bit expensive, but well worth it. I mean, they just last so much better, have a lot more cranking power. But as you can see, there's a little bit of water in here. That's not that bad. This thing was filling up to about this point. The reason why there's not a lot of water on here right now is we have it up on a stand. So the next step you want to do to figure out where this water is coming from is if you put it in the water, if you can see or hear any water coming in. In this particular case, we could not hear or see any water coming in. Next step you want to do is fill it up. Let it fill up with water to about the point where you feel, you don't want to near your battery terminals, but up to about where you feel safe. It's not going to damage the engine. Put it up either on the land, on your trailer, and then you want to look underneath and look for any leaks. You might be able to see some leaks come out if you have a crack in your fiberglass. In this particular case, we did, again, not see any leaks or cracks or any water come out. So at that point, we had to turn the engine on, thinking it was a loose hose or a crack. And unfortunately, this time it was a crack. It was a crack in the exhaust manifold, which is actually off right now. Let me go grab that. And this is a very common issue on these models, 2006, for these pieces right here to crack. So how this would normally go in, right here, and it's going to sit right in here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts here. You have a hose here, and it clamps in there. And basically this is all your water, goes over your engine, cools down the engine, and sprays out the back. So basically what we had to do was, this piece was cracked right here. We took this to our local welder. He only charged about $25 to have this piece welded back on, brand new steel welded. This is how it looked originally, but it had a crack right here. So that is the best way to go. You could put some like liquid steel on it, but it's only going to last for about a year, and then you'll end up having to take this whole thing off again. So my recommendation is just find a local welder who will do it for 20, 30 bucks. Alright, so now that we have it welded, I'm going to put this piece back on. To do that, we just put it right here, and you're gonna, this piece right here fits over. There's a small screw that goes into there, and it lines up right here with these bolts as well. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts here, 1, 2 bolts there, and then your last is right there. Clamp your hoses on, and you're good to go. So let me do that, and then I will show you after we have clamped that back together, and just make sure it's running and not leaking anymore. Alright, when putting this back together, you're going to do it in reverse of taking it apart. So I'm going to start off with the last thing when you're putting it back together. You actually tighten this bolt up first, or when you're putting it back on, it's going to be this bolt first. Make sure that you're making a good connection in your gasket. You don't want to tighten it all the way, just enough so it's on there. Get this bolt down here in. That's going to just keep everything steady. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the bolts, pretty much just hand tighten them. And then what I'll do is at the very end you tighten them all together so you don't create any tension improperly in a certain location. you shouldn't be fighting the thread. So if you feel that it's going in and it's not correctly on the thread, just pull it right out. Now there's a little bit of a twist here, so I'm going to come back to this bolt. So you get the bolt down here, bolt up here. Go to the flip side. Bolt down here. And when you pull it apart, check your gaskets. This gasket was alright, but if your gasket comes off in pieces, you're probably going to need a new gasket. So it's best just to do it, again, sooner rather than later. So I'm going to have to put some tension on this to get the thread back in. There it is. Just try not, you don't want to, the worst thing you can do is de-thread it, so take your time, go back out if the thread is not correct. And then we have 2 more bolts right there. Going to get them all in by hand first, and then I'll come back and use the Allen wrench to get it in properly. Okay, this is Nick again. As you can see now, I have everything attached, all the hoses. Basically it's this hose and this hose. Tighten these screws, tighten this down, tighten all these nuts in here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it on, and we're just going to hold it, and I'm going to feel if I can feel any wetness around where they just soldered. So I'm going to do that right now. I turned it on there, and I'm just feeling underneath here, and I feel no wetness at all, so that means they did a good solder job. What I'm do now is I'm just going to put the seat back on. I'm going to go for a quick ride, come back, and just check my level. Make sure there's no new water in here. Right now there's a little bit of water, but you can see it's basically not above this black thing here. So give it a ride for maybe 10-15 minutes and make sure there's no water coming back in. If there's not, then I've fixed my leak from the Seadoo jet ski, and I should be ready for a funner summer of fun. Alright, so we're going to go for the first test drive after fixing the exhaust pipe. And put this back in. Gas about halfway.
You mixed the new gas, right?
Yes.
Wow, it didn't smoke a lot when you left.
Alright, now we're going to check to see if it came up at all. And basically right at the same location, the black line hasn't come up at all. So I'm going to check it for the next couple days, but we should have basically fixed the problem.